When it comes to the toppling the Islamic Republic, this is the cooperation between our three nations, the nation of Iran, Israel, and United States, right? And all of us have a role to play. And the Iranian people, without the Iranian people, this is not going to be possible. So you're completely right that the Iranian people are basically they need to do the final push. As powerful as the Israelis and the Americans are, you can't do regime change from the air. You need boots on the ground, and the only boots on the ground that you have, I mean, other than special operations and maybe like some commando or like spies on the ground, the only high level of boots on the grounds that you're going to have for regime change are the Iranian people. So we need the Iranian people are going to be required to do their job for this to get to the finish line. And as you could see from the speeches from President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and Prince Reza Pahlavi, all of these people are relying on the Iranian people to do the regime change, because they all asked them that there's going to be a time, and now it's not the time, but the signal will come from all of these three people when it's time to come back into the streets in millions and get us to freedom. And the way they're talking about it seems like suggests that all of these attacks are for that moment. All of the attacks against Khamenei, killing Khamenei, Mujtaba Khamenei, Ali Khamenei, IRGC leaders, they all have been designed to bring about the time where the Iranian people could take back their country. So this is why we're very encouraged, because killing Khamenei was not just for the sake of killing Khamenei. Based on all of these speeches, killing of Ali Khamenei was to bring about the conditions for the Iranian people to be able to do the regime change. That is why we're very encouraged. So, what I did, by the way, I never suggested that there's going to be no problems. There's going to be problems. There's going to be challenges. Nothing is going to go perfectly. And how long this is going to take, we're not sure. The military operations could go on for another 2 weeks. I've seen some estimates that suggest that it could cause going on for 2 weeks. But the call to action for the Iranian people to come back into the streets might come out any time because of the way that these three men talk. I'm very optimistic regarding our future, because I mean, I was even optimistic before this, because my understanding is that one way or another, if you look at the way the events of the past 2 years, even without the United States attack and Israeli attack, my understanding is that we're going to have regime change. But what these military attacks do is reduce the cost, right? One way or another, the Islamic Republic would have been toppled by the Iranian people, but the price that we had to pay would have been astronomically higher if the Americans and the Israelis didn't get involved. This is why we needed the Israelis and Americans to reduce the price for the toppling of the regime, the price of this revolution in lives. But also, this is very beneficial for Americans and Israelis, because if they weren't getting going to get involved, it would have been harder to justify the great bond that we're going to have after this revolution. So by Americans and Israelis doing this, they have reconfirmed the great bond that we have, these three nations of these people have with each other. So, and that's why this was obviously a major win for us Iranian people. But I hope and I know that we Iranian people will build a very strong, prosperous country, and we will prove the Americans and Israelis that they could be proud of having us as an ally. And I promise you that we will become such a good ally to have, in a way that you will never wonder why you did this. Like, we will make it so that it the return on this investment will be 100 times more whatever the cost of was. Like, we will make it very clear that having Iran as an ally was worth whatever the cost the Americans and Israelis had to pay for us to get here.
All right, let's move on.
That
Next, I
you
have David.
that this is going to be the
You get
greatest.
one sentence, literally one.
This is going to be the greatest alliance in history, and for right now, bepish, bepish, bepish.
Bapish. Okay. Okay, who's next?
I guess it's David's turn right now. Can you hear me?
Yes, David. Hi.
Okay, hi. Yes. Anyway, what I have to say sort of is in a totally different direction here. I'm sending you a couple small packages over to the Atheist Republic mailbox. One is going to be some 9-volt batteries and some jumper wires with alligator clips. The other one is going to be 2 silver wires of 99.99% silver. And the reason is so that you could make colloidal silver. Are you familiar with colloidal silver? I know this sounds like it's like, where is this coming from? Okay. The reason why I'm doing this, I'm writing a letter right now. I call this Project Silver Lion. Currently, right now in Iran, as we're all too well familiar, there's a lot of people dying from infected gunshot wounds. No antibiotics, cared for at home by their relatives. Colloidal silver is easy to make with silver coins, silver jewelry, silverware. It was the original antibiotic from about 1900 to the early 1940s before it was phased out by penicillin and other manufactured antibiotics. But pretty much anybody could make it in their own kitchen. Arguably, probably penicillin and some of these synthetic antibiotics are maybe stronger and more effective, but this was the standard of medicine for internal infections for about 40 years. And I'm thinking that if the people of Iran could be given broadcasts of instructions on how to make colloidal silver, the vast majority of families in Iran, they have glass jars. They have access to copper wires. They have access to silver coins or silver jewelry. You need distilled water. You can make distilled water by boiling water in a pot, and the water that condenses on the underside of the lid is distilled water, and you can collect enough of it
So,
to create an effective antibiotic. And this might be able to save the lives of people who right now have festering wounds and fevers that are running out of control.
okay, David, because we're past the 2 minute mark, I just want to say, like, I have no expertise in this, but I trust that the Iranian people, like, are very resourceful, and there's a lot of, like, they are very aware exactly of what they need, and there's a lot of information. The best information are like their doctors on the ground there that are sharing information with them. So I don't know, like, so can you just quickly in 30
I
seconds tell me exactly what you're trying to say, because
what I'm
I don't
trying to
know.
say, I'm writing the letter. I put it in the comments there. Maybe perhaps you could have someone who's not exhausted read it to you when you maybe when you're laying down. That might be a good idea. And it basically explains everything. Both basically the vast majority of people don't know about colloidal silver. It was sort of almost phased out for internal oral use. It's still used
Right.
for wound dressing. It's still used for topical application, but people in the West who are sort of like health nuts are into it. And there's a lot of people making it
Okay.
at home. So I'm thinking that this could be an answer for a lot of people who have relatives who they're caring for who have gunshot wounds, and
Okay.
also for anyone else who needs antibiotics. Because it's going to be
Okay.
weeks before everybody is able to get
So,
antibiotics in Iran that they need.
so what my understanding is that there's a lot of antibiotics. The problem is access. So if people could share information, they will be able to figure out where are the doctors who. But anyways, I'm not going to talk about this because I don't have any expertise when it comes to medicine. Maybe I could ask my dad about this, because my dad is a doctor inside Iran. So next time I'm talking to him, I'll ask him.
If you could
But yeah.
send him my or translate my document, just tell him you could read it off to him, and maybe
Okay.
he'll realize they could use this.
Okay. All right. So guys, because I'm running out of time and this is not an area of my expertise, so I'm just gonna, yeah. But thank you. Yeah, I'll look into it. All right, let's guys, the list is very long and I don't have much enough time. So let's just try to go through everyone faster.
Next, I have a question from chat.
Okay, so President Trump, I don't know what Lindsey Graham said. What President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have said is that they asked the Iranian people to come out and basically capture their institutions, government institutions and government buildings. Okay, so it doesn't really matter after who wants what outside of Iran once we get rid of the suppressing forces, right? When you get rid of the suppressing forces, not even God can stop the Iranian people at that point to bring Pahlavi back into power, make him the leader of the transitional period, right? So let people say different things. I mean, I think I don't know what if they're playing mind games or if this is theatrics or not, but whether it is or not, It's good for confusing the Islamic Republic. It might actually help get some parts of the Islamic to try to get some other parts of the Islamic Republic to stop shooting at people, or maybe stop, throwing missiles at things. So always giving some false hope to the Islamic Republic is a good idea, regardless of what your plan is, just to get some of them to just back down. And honestly, I'm not worried about whether regime change will happen or not once the suppressing forces are suppressed themselves, right? So once you get rid of that, everything else will fall like dominoes. Let people negotiate and plan everything they want. We Iranian people would just say, just remove this obstacle and just see what happens after, because we know what's going to happen after. So yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Next, I have Joseph.
I have a question because it was a name that, to be honest about it, brings up nightmares past of 79. Because when I was looking at potential leaders for what's going on right now, Hassan Khomeini's name came up. The Ayatollah Khomeini's grandson is can you see anything where we don't see a repeat of where Pahlavi's father kicked the Ayatollah out in France and came back, become a nightmare, that generated this 47-year nightmare? So my question is, do you think anything's going to be done about him by a transitional government, or are we going to see a potential repeat of 1979?
Okay, so you're worried that once, like, so after that, like during the military actions taken by the United States and Israel against Islamic Republic, you're saying that you're worried that instead of the Islamic Republic being toppled and Prince Reza Pahlavi coming back to Iran and we get to a secular democracy, you're worried that we're going to have a repeat of what happened in 1979, because you're hearing people like Hassan Khomeini, his name being thrown around, and you're worried that somebody like that could be pushed to us and we're going to have that again.
What I meant was, is, you know how the Shah kicked Khomeini out of Iran?
Oh,
and then what I'm worried about is that he's going to leave, that Hassan could
okay.
leave, build up a power base, and then potentially start a civil war. I'm probably not saying this right, because I'm having an ADD moment.
Yes.
But
So Hassan Khomeini is a reformer, which means that so-called reformer, right? Which means that he has zero support in Iran, right? So I don't know if you guys know about reformers, but they're hated by everybody, almost everybody. So the people who want to topple the regime hate the reformers more than they hate the hardliners, and the hardliners hate the reformers because they're reformers, right? So they are the most hated group of people inside Iran. This the only thing that the anti-regime people and pro-regime people agree upon is that we all hate the reformers, right? So I don't know with what base of support he wants to come back and do anything. Also, the Iranian people are a lot more mature than 1979, right? The Iranian people hate Islamism, they hate Marxism, and they are very obsessed with freedom of speech and freedom of expression and secularism and democracy. And I think the demand for secularism and democracy among the Iranian people is the highest in the world. And also beyond all of that, they're very, very, very pro Pahlavi. So this is not a nation that you could do what you did in 1979 with. The people in Iran in 1979 were not this aware. They were not this mature. They did not know what's happening. They were fooled very easily, right? To be fair to them, the modernization was happening of Iran was happening at a much more rapid scale that they could understand, that they could adjust to. So it was hard for them to adapt to all the changes that were happening. But the past 47 years has created an obsession among Iranians to avoid everything and anything that caused it. Like we label all the ideologies that are responsible for the 1979 revolution. We call them panjo hafti. Like we have created like a category, a box, and anything and everything that is even remotely close to the philosophy of everything that caused the 1979 revolution, we put it in a box and we hate on it. We hate on it with such passion. So this is why the Iranian people chant Mullah Chapi, Mag bar se fasid, Mullah Chapi Mujahid, which means death to the three corruptions, the mullahs, the leftists, and the MEK. And this is why they say, which means that the sickle and the hammer and the turban, all of the ideologies of 1979 are over. These are the famous chants. And this is why they ask for the return of Pahlavi, because they consider the Pahlavi brand to be a shield against everything that caused 1979. And
Okay.
is for
Yeah,
me this
look,
this society, you can't do 1979 with again
but you can
nation like that.
understand my
Yeah,
concern because I was 13 years old when this all went down. So when this
right.
originally went down, so that's when I saw this. There's a name that's probably just as much hated by Americans, at least of my generation. Then, so like I said, that's the reason why I wanted to ask the question, because I saw this name and I thought, oh God, Ghost of 1979. Thank you for
With
clearing
these
that up.
people, yeah. I mean, but just to give you some more confidence, but looking at these people, do you think these people tolerate a Khomeini? These people, which like in Persian we say this, in Persian we say that they will shoot its shadow, like meaning that they wouldn't even let a shadow of anything with the name of Khomeini to come back, let alone Khomeini itself.
Like I said, I was 13 years old when this all started in 79. So, the name Khamenei was a boogeyman that I grew
Yep.
up with.
But I hope now you feel a lot more reassured. You're, I know I'm saying this as an Iranian, so you might not trust me, but believe in the Iranian people. I don't think they're going to disappoint you. I've learned that the Iranian people in the past 47 years, they have a much higher level of maturity and understanding and awareness, and that if you just trust them, they will not disappoint you. Like this is what I've learned. And I don't know, I'm a biased source for saying that, but I truly believe it. All right, let's go. Sorry, Danny.
Next, I have Babak. Is Babak still here? Babak is still here.
Yeah. 2 minutes and only question. Yes. Babak, so we're doing 2 minute time limit and also focus it on a question, okay? Thank you.
It's actually not a question, it's just a celebration. Fucking hell, Khomeini is dead.
Yeah.
I'm coming here to you, brothers and sisters, to celebrate the fucking death of a motherfucking goat fucker who I oh man, this is the best day in my life. Thank you, brothers and sisters. That's all.
Babak. We're gonna have a lot more celebrations to come, Babak. This is not the only one. We're gonna be celebrating the return of our two kings, not just one. We're going to be celebrating the freedom, the day where we could officially say that the Islamic Republic is no more. By the way, guys, this is like important. Like we're celebrating the return of what not one but two kings.
And
Prince
by
Reza
the way,
Pahlavi, let me Babak, Prince Reza Pahlavi and Mohammad Reza Shah, who's been buried in Egypt. The day that we bring his body back to Iran is going to be a big, big, big day for Iranians. But thank you, Babak.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Babak, for saying what we all feel, but don't necessarily have the vocabulary to express. On that note, it's me next. I'll put two questions. They're both short. A, where is Reza Shah buried if Mohammad Reza Shah is in Egypt? And B, what happens to Nayak now? Do they just disband?
No, Nayak is still there, and they're spreading their poison as we speak. Nayak, yeah.
After the Islamic Republic is dead and buried.
Oh yeah, I think they should. I mean, yeah. I hope. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they will be the new opposition against the new secular democratic Iran. So maybe they will find a way to continue their operation. With regards to Reza Shah, so Mohammad Reza Shah is buried in Egypt. Reza Shah, I think he's buried in Iran. I mean, yes, because I remember hearing, I don't know if this is a true story or not, but I've heard like the Islamic Republic insulted him by turning his burial ground into like a wash, like a toilet or something.
I was asking because I was sure they wouldn't just let him stay in the ground respectfully. That makes sense.
I think he was buried in Iran and they disrespected his burial ground. So it was from 1944 to 1950, it was South Africa and Egypt. From 1950 to 1979, his remains were brought back to Iran and ceremonially buried. In 1951, a mausoleum was built south of Tehran. This site became a national monument during the reign of his son, Muhammad Reza Shah. In 1980, destruction of the tomb. Following the 1979 Iranian Revolution, the mausoleum was completely destroyed. In April 1980, the demolition was led by Sadiq Khali, who used sledgehammers and dynamite to level the structure. At the time, the revolutionaries claimed they could not find the body, leading to rumors that Pahlavi family had secretly moved it before fleeing. So, yeah. Though the 2018 discovery in April 2018, construction workers expanding the Shah Abdul Azim Shrine, the site of the former mausoleum, unearthed a mummified body. Forensic expert and the Shah's grandson Reza Pahlavi noted a strong resemblance between the mummy and historical photos of Reza Shah. Current status: the Iranian government never officially confirmed the body's identity. Reports from local officials suggested the remains were reburied in an undisclosed location within the same area or moved to a cemetery like Behesh Zahra, but no official public grave exists today.
I believe Cat Lady put the question in the chat earlier, but I missed it. I'm hoping she retypes it. Otherwise, can Armin explain in short who are PJAK?
Wait, I don't know who are you. Are you talking about some Kurdish group? But let me see. What are you talking about? Let me see if I can see the party. Oh yeah, Kurdistan Free Life Party. I mean, there's so many different Kurdish groups that I don't know each one. Let me see the Persian one. Persian wording for this. Kurdistan. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now I see who they are. Is a militant and potential organization that seeks a do. Okay, so this is just one of the many different Kurdish groups, separatist Kurdish groups in Iran. Honestly, there's just so many of them that none of them are very relevant. So it's just like there's a whole bunch of them, and this is just one of them. And honestly, like there's so much internal fight between them that we have stopped bothering learning the leaders of each one of them and the names of each group. So why do you ask about them, Cat Lady? Like, what is it that you want to know about them? Because
I wanted to know if they're for Iran or
so
for.
is this an offshoot? I mean, they're for Iran. They're linked to the PKK. Like, so PKK, for example, is Turkey. These people are for Iran, a separatist in Iran. So the way you think about it, PKK is for Turkey. I is Iran. In Iran, they want to secede from Iran, and YPG or SDF is Syria. So I mean, every couple of years, a new one of these Kurdish separatist groups gets founded in Iran. This one was founded in 2004. It's like a sister party of the PKK in Turkey. Yeah, just a separatist groups. They engage in guerrilla warfare against IRGC. They're not just anti-Islamic Republic. They're anti-Iranian. They consider the suppression of the Islamic Republic to be an Iranian oppression upon the Kurdish people instead of just an Islamic Republic oppression. So they're anti-Iranian and they don't represent the Iranian Kurds. Like the Iranian Kurds very much hate them. and sometimes they come and apologize for them, and we tell them not to apologize. The Iranian people, the vast majority of the Kurdish people in Iran, they're very patriotic, and they consider themselves to be Iranian first and Kurdish second, and they are as eager to preserve the border as eager to preserve Iran's border integrity. And honestly, if any of these groups wants to do anything after the Islamic Republic falls, the Kurdish people of Iran will be on the front lines fighting them. And also, like, by the way, if any separatist groups in the western borders of Iran tries to do anything after the Islamic Republic falls, what that would do is that would get millions of Iranians to try to join the new army of Iran, the new Artesh of Iran, after the new secular democratic Artesh army of Iran would get so millions of Iranians signing up, including Kurdish Iranians and Azeri Iranians, to defend our borders. I hope you guys know here, because I've been saying it many times, how the borders of Iran are non-negotiable for Iranians. It's like the highest priority. So this revolution, it has four principles. The Lion and Sun Revolution in Iran has four principles: border integrity, secularism, democracy, and equal individual rights for all citizens. And from all these four, border integrity is the highest of all priority. And I think secularism would be number two. I think secularism is a higher priority for Iranian than democracy, given their experience with Islam. So I think these are the four principles that are non-negotiable. And I think, in order, if I had to guess, these are the priorities: border integrity number one, secularism number two, democracy number three, and equal individual rights for all citizens number four. But border integrity would be number one.